In this video, we're going to be working on the next part of it. So we did the header, and now we're ready to do the about section. So the first thing we're going to have to do is go get some content. All right, so we do have in here sandwich content. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And there it is. So this is the about portion right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this paragraph, or these paragraphs, except it's not scrolling down. So let me move it up. There we go. All right, so I've copied this section here. And now I'm going to go ahead and move into my HTML. And here is this section right here. So we want to have two things. We're going to have on the left-hand side, we're going to have some text, and on the right-hand side, we're going to have a picture very similar to what we've done with our header. So I'm going to have an article, and inside that article, I'm going to get rid of this. This is just our placeholder. I'm going to place our text. Okay, so it's made a mess. So what I'm just going to do now is, we know that scrolling is not going to work easy. I'm going to go ahead and select this because these are the children inside article. So I want them to be pushed over. So they should be underneath this H1. So if I select them and press tab, it moves them over. And now they are right where I want them to be. Right, all under there. You see they're all squished. But that's really only because of this right here. So if I move this over, you can see it looks a little bit better. I might even leave it that way for now. Okay, the other thing we're going to do in this is, besides having an article, we also want to have a picture. And that picture is going to be a child of section along with article. So it has to be underneath the close article tag. And we're going to do figure. And inside that figure, we're going to have an image. So I'm going to type IMG and then press tab. And the images, that's going to be in the images folder. And we're going to be using storefront. So you can see storefront.jpg. Storefront.jpg. And then on the other side of that quote, I'm going to add an alt tag, because we always have to remember people who cannot see that. And I'm just going to put Trident sandwich storefront. So a person who cannot see the screen will know what that picture is. Alright, so we're ready to go and do File, Save All, and then Refresh. And then when I click on the About tag, there it is. So we have this text that spans the entire container, and then we have this figure tag also that spans the entire container. And really what we want them to do is be side by side. So we're going to have to do that using inline elements or using floats. So let's go back and take a look at our code. All right, one of the issues that we have when we take a look at our CSS is that in our CSS, in our header, we said that, let's see, header figure margin 0, and now we're going to have another figure, and that also has to have a margin of 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this. I'm just going to go ahead and comment it out, and I'm not going to copy it. Because what we want to do is we want to say, you know, all the figure tags that we're going to put on this page, I don't want to have any of that margin. I have to keep taking it away. And I'm going to put this above body. So body is the main container. I'm going to put this in front of that. I'm going to say, for all the figures, make a margin of 0. And there's a reason why I'm putting it up here. A couple of reasons. One is this is a global thing. I want all figure tags to have a margin of 0. I put it up here so that's where a person would find any of our global styles. The other thing is, if I have a figure and I want to have a different style, say a margin of 10 or something like that, or go back to the original margins on a figure, then I can put that down in the code and I can overwrite it because it does it in order. So if this figure says 0, and then down here I want to have this say a margin of 10, then this will take precedence. It actually would anyway because I'm using header figure. But we want to have the general overwritable properties at the very top of our code so we can overwrite it later on. And then we don't have to keep writing margin 0 for every time we have a figure tag. It's already done. Alright, so what else are we going to do? Okay, so we have the article and we have the figure, and we need to go ahead and code that. So I'm going to use hash about, and then inside that section I'm going to have the article. Now I could also use section article to be able to specify that. But the thing is, I'm going to have articles in all my sections. So I want to be specific and say, well, this one is only the section that has an ID of about. And that's why we're using the hashtag. If it was going to be a class, a section with a class of about, then it would be a dot about. So the article in that, we want to float that to the left. Right, and then for my figure, so in hash about, so that's going to be section with an ID of about and figure. So the child figure tag inside that will float this one to the right. All right. All right, let's do file and save all, and then refresh. Okay, so this is floating to the left and this is floating to the right, but you can see that we still have an issue because this is taking up the entire container, so this can't float up from there. Let's also take a look at our home, and you can see that even though I've changed it to the figure, I said that instead of this figure having a 0 margin, all figures have a 0 margin. You see no impact on that at all. Alright, so let's go ahead and figure that. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is we need to make that article smaller. So we have this article here. We floated it to the left, and let's give it a width of 600 pixels, see how that works. File, save all, and then refresh. Boom. Alright. So now that we've made this smaller, now there's space for this to come up. And actually, if we hadn't taken off that margin, this thing wouldn't have moved up because there wouldn't have been enough space. Let's go ahead and move this down a little bit. You can see there's white space above story, but there's no white space up here. So let's go ahead and do that also. So that's the figure. We want to go ahead and push it down. So we'll do margin. Good if I spelled it correctly. Margin. And what I'm going to do is I want to put 20 pixels above it, and might as well go ahead and put above and below. Nothing hurts there. And I'm going to move it away from the wall. So I'm also going to give it 5 pixels left and right. And let's see how that works. Nice. See? So we got 5 pixels over here, so it's not on the wall. And we moved it down, so it's around the same as it is for story, and that's nice. If this thing didn't work out this way, and it rounded over here, that means that these two can't fit side by side. But everything's fitting nicely. And so that looks like that was pretty easy. So very similar to what we did above in this one up here, and that is we have text on one side and we have a picture on the other. So just learn the same thing again. All right, that's it for this one.